I'd like to introduce Nick Mason from Pink Floyd, who's kindly agreed to talk to us about his couplet story in Mad, Bad and Dangerous, The Book of Drummers' Tales. Nick, firstly, thanks a million for agreeing to chat to us.
Pleasure.
One of the stories featured in the Book of Mad, Bad and Dangerous is your experience playing along a pre-programmed drum track back in 1982 in Mayfair. I believe it was the first Lindrum invention, was it not?
Well, of course, I can remember absolutely nothing about it. So I think, as I say, all I really remember about it was that it was probably an early click track, whether it was Lind generated or who knows at the time. But it was certainly something I wasn't particularly comfortable with.
Yes, I've always hated playing with click tracks. I've never really liked it. And first time for me was always a little bit funny. But how was that for you then when you were actually first?
Well, actually, it was pretty disastrous, really. And the famous moment was when James Guthrie, the most wonderful engineer, incredibly diplomatic, finally plucked up the courage to come into the studio to talk to me and sort of quietly to tell me that actually, what was the word he used?
Did you use the word discrepancies?
Yes, that there seemed to be slight discrepancies between this rhythm track and what I was playing.
Is there something to do with the timekeeping?
Yeah, it was slightly off anyway, and it was probably a long way off, really. But apparently, because I, of course, don't remember this now, but I looked at him and said, James, the fact of the matter is that timekeeping's never really been my strong point. I've always been better at the after-show party.
If you need someone to take the sting out of a situation, always ask a drummer. One of the themes that runs through the book is this notion that drummers might by nature be a little bit mad. Not just the ones who drive cars into swimming pools or smash up hotel rooms, but all of us. You know, is there something a bit mad about all of us? What do you think?
Well, I think there's a couple of things points to make here. The people who are usually accusing us of being mad are the sort of what Gary Wallace likes to call the novelty acts, i.e. guitar players and singers, who are clearly demented and hardly really in a position to judge, in my opinion.
The strutting peacocks. Well, I mean, Steve White said it's far from being mad. It's the sanest instrument you can play because it's nearest to the heart. It's rhythm. It's one of the first forms of communication, all that, and smoke signals. Whereas Topper Headon says you've got to be mad to do it in the first place because you've got to spend a year or so upsetting people before you can even play with anyone. But I take it you go along with the idea that actually it's probably the most therapeutic and.
I think it's therapeutic. I think there are aspects of it that are completely insane. I mean, who on earth would, when you have a wide range of musical instruments available, why would you pick the one that's it seems to demand a sort of full Louis Vuitton set of luggage in order to move around? I mean, the only thing worse than that is the piano.
Yes, yeah, and if anything goes wrong, then you are pretty well scuppered. If you hurt any part of your body or your limbs or whatever, a finger or anything, then you've had it. If you're ill, you need all that stamina to play and all that kind of thing.
Not in my case. My doctor said never play any song that's faster than your pulse rate.
Good advice indeed. Have you ever had a really dreadful experience in terms of having to play when you're ill or injured, like on a tour when you just can't duck out?
Injured, no. Apart from I pulled some muscles in my neck or back or something, which happened on a couple of occasions. But in fact, fortuitously, it was a period when we were playing music for the Ballet de Marseille, and they, of course, had a full-time masseur chiropractor on their books for dancers who were always hurting themselves really badly. So, in fact, I had some help on that. I remember that. Probably a couple of times when running temperatures and things like that, but actually I always found that strong alcohol. And,
yes, I suppose that kind of helps.
I've Touchwood, never really. I don't think we've ever had to pull a show for being ill. that I can remember.
The drummers are a kind of, seems to be, on the research that I did for this book, it seems that they will go through virtually anything to continue with it. You know, they will not let anyone down, least of all themselves. And Steve Grant, he played with, he was drugged up to the eyeballs with, he had pneumonia, he could hardly sort of breathe, and it was playing towards work.
Well, they can always gaffer tape you to the seat, which gives you an advantage over again over the people who have to stand up. Someone once said to me something about, what's your sort of playing position? And I said, well, actually, a lot of it is like this.
There's so much else going on.
There's quite often sort of lengthy passages where keyboard's wittering away, or steel guitar or something.
Did you ever sort of lose concentration such that you failed to come in?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it is that. Well, it's the famous story of the actors who go out for a drink at lunchtime and come back in, and he's not on till the scene 3 or something, and he's sitting next to his mate because they sit at the back to watch, and he goes, "Oh, this is great. This is where I come in."
But Nick, thanks so much for talking to us.
Pleasure.
And hopefully there'll be a book too, and we'll get to chat.
I think that'd be a really good idea. Mad, Bad and Dangerous, a book I highly recommend. Spike takes over where Marcel Proust left off.